Right, I found a nice little comfy spot along with my journal to come and share with you my thoughts on doing the work. What the fuck is doing the work? Well, I don't really know, because my version of what doing the work is probably going to be very different to yours. Like, for example, part of my work is to ensure that I am able to have healthy relationships and don't duplicate what I was taught as a kid. And that one's very much still a work in progress, because, you know, when you're trying to do the work on some of the things that are so deeply programmed in you, it's not an easy overnight fix. It's not as simple as going to your garden, pulling out a few roots, job's a good one, one and done, you're done. In my experience, it's been a case of have to revisit the same thing over and over and over and over, shaving more layers off, you know, refinement, seeing things from a different angle. So if you're somebody who is doing the work and you are finding yourself repeating things, try to be easy on yourself, especially if you are trying to reshape things that were formulated within your core foundation. So between the years of 0 and 7, actually 0 and 14, 2 life cycles. Trying to change anything from that sort of point within your existence, depending on how old you are, can be quite difficult, can be quite challenging. And a lot of the time, the stuff that is within our programming and our conditioning, we're completely unaware of, because we just grew up with what we grew up with, right? It was just normal. So it's sometimes very difficult to recognise when actually we are repeating something which is actually harming ourselves and sometimes others. Oh, and the realisation when that part of you finally comes into awareness and you're like, oh my God, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem, it's me. And as I'm saying that, I'm just being surrounded by these little crows. Crows will often come and sit with me and come close when I'm outside recording in nature. Hello, buddy. Yeah? Nice to see you nice. Anyway, crows, blackbirds. I think they look like crows. They're too small to be blackbirds. Anyway, I digress. What I wanted to chat about primarily within this is the challenges and actually the difficulties of doing the work when one has not yet cultivated a sense of self. And I'm talking from experience, which is why I'm bringing it up. And I'll put this into perspective. So I grew up learning to disregard my emotions. I learned to keep them locked away, because for me, that meant that my house was safe. I learned, whether this was true or not, through what I was experiencing, visually, viscerally, emotionally, spiritually. There wasn't very much space for me and my emotions. It was a bit too much. So I learned over time to shut up, shove it down. And I knew that one day within my existence I would be able to come back to these things and sort them out. And I knew that as a youngster, but I also knew the longer I left it, the harder it would be. I feel simultaneously blessed and also challenged to come on in with a relatively open amount, quite a high level of consciousness, I would say, at least compared to my peers. And anyway, that's getting off topic. So, about 8 years ago, I realised something's got to give. I've really got to start doing something. I've got to start repairing some of the things. Rather than just moving through life, very aware of the discomfort that I felt and very aware of the pains in that. I suddenly felt really, really seen and exposed because someone was walking their dog behind me. So 26, I'm very aware of how heavy and dense and uncomfortable I felt. And I was aware of some of the reasons why. I was abused, and it went on for years, almost 2 decades, through varying different places and people and things. I was very aware of it. I was very ashamed about some of the things that I've experienced, right? So, I've got all this programming which keeps me shut up, keeps me quiet, got all this shame, got a very warped sense of self, And it was about 26 or 27, I think. Probably more like, it was actually about 26. 25, I realised, flipping out, this is... How have you not found Crack Den Alley? How are you still here walking along this path? How have you still got your brain intact? By 26, it got way too much. And by 27, I had a mental breakdown. I'm really grateful for that. I've spent at least 10 months crying every single day for at least 6 or 7 hours a day. I was unable to do the things that I was doing. I had to stop working, reduce my hours, find a brand new sector to work in. I was fucked. I was absolutely fucked. So off I go and I start healing and grieving and doing all these things. But what I didn't have was a mentor. What I didn't have was somebody to guide me through this process. I just had me and my brain and my soul taking me down this path, right? Great. On many levels, very helpful. On others, not so much. Because the healing that I was doing was being guided and influenced by already the fragmented parts within my psyche. And this is where I see, again, a lot of my friends and things going down the same sort of path, and I'm like, oh my God, just get a mentor. Just get a mentor. Somebody that you can actually feel confident enough just to express what you may feel to be the most dysfunctional, shameful things that are on your being, so that person can flag you when you're being self-deprecating, when you're going against yourself, when you're talking yourself down, when you're stepping into shadow, when you're in the victim consciousness. Because I tell you what, I wish I'd had that way back then. But here's the thing, I was still ashamed of who I was and all the things that I had experienced back then, and that was the thing that prevented me from going and getting the help. So off I went on my merry way with my fragmented mind, fragmented parts guiding fragmented parts back into more fragmentation. Why? Because I didn't have a sense of self. And I think this is the missing key for a lot of people. But also, here's another thing. It's not that I didn't actually go and have some assessments with people. Being somebody who did grow up in quite a challenging environment, I am extremely hypervigilant, and I do believe that these experiences have impacted and increased my intuition. So these people that I've gone and had maybe assessments with, 1 session, 2 sessions with, I can sense, you actually can't go as deep as I need you to go. So off you fuck. I might have to do it on my own. So there's part of me that's extremely grateful that I have navigated through some of the most treacherous emotional landscapes I've ever come face to face with, because it's taught me my own resilience, my own capacities and all the things. And I'm also grateful for also being shamed for my life experience and not wanting to share this with other people, because it's actually helped me somewhere along the way to connect with my own truth and what I know to be true, rather than constantly relying on the external world for validation and guidance, while simultaneously I feel like I've let myself down a little bit, because if I had a little bit of guidance and if I had been a bit open, I may well be a little bit further along. But that's just an ego construct, right? The ego wishes it was further along because it derives some sense of something from it. So I am not a guru and I don't have all the answers, but I'm pretty good at supporting others. What I've come to realise is that what is up here and what I can see and sense is actually made for the outside world. It's not designed for myself. And when you look in human design and you look at my specific design, you go, oh yeah, I can see that. I can see why you would come to that. So, if you feel like you would like a guide, somebody who's a little bit unhinged, who's got a pretty good handle on her own emotional landscape, who's worked through all the layers of shame and all the bits and pieces, we can work together. One off, long term, short term, whatever you want. I use tarot cards, human design, astrology, and all these really interesting concepts that I've learned and trained in over the last 8 years. And I'm ready to offer that to others. So hopefully my authenticity has not put you off. And if it has, maybe we're not supposed to work together. May you be blessed, may you be healthy.